Namaste, I'm Kamlesh Kapoor, and this is lesson 4 of Hindu Dharma, parent teacher workshop or continuation of course. Now, this time we are going to see build in the most important aspirations and chants in Hindu Dharma. Almost in every temple, most of these chants are chanted by the people, and even at home all day long while they are working, doing their routine work, they are constantly repeating those chants for changing their state of mind or changing the vibrations inside one's own mind. And these aspirations have far-reaching place in the what it is that human beings want. So, from these chants, you can understand what is the Hindu quest. What exactly do they expect that the divine should do for the humanity, or they should do for the humanity and the environment and everything else, and how they relate to each other. So, those aspirations, and we will also try to teach the students how these aspirations are absolutely important in resolving some of the issues, or they surround those desires and aspirations, they are surrounding the current scenario, which is full of conflict, anguish, and other issues. So we'll go through some of the chants, some of the traditions built around them. So Hindu traditions. Hindus don't believe in temple visits. In America and other foreign countries where the Hindus have settled, they are so scattered and such a small minority that they do try to meet each other and interact in the temple. So most people do go to temple on Sundays, or otherwise have some kind of sessions on Dharma itself. So, but Hindus as such, generally, they rarely visit the temple. It's not essential, it's not mandatory, nothing will happen if anybody doesn't ever go to a temple. Because, as we did in the last lesson, that we believe that it is our own actions, good deeds, and righteous action that is what promotes Dharma and sustains humanity. So temple or the priest, everything is irrelevant in this kind of scenario. So Hindu Dharma, therefore, is not a congregational religion. It's not a religion. Let's put it this way. So it's a way of life as well. So, and Hindus don't convert. They don't even have the need to convert. People, as Shri Krishna has already laid down very clearly, and the ancient rishis also said, that one may act according to the mode of goodness, or according to the mode of ignorance, or in the mode of enjoyment, action, and preserving Dharma. So in other words, other people's belief systems or lack of belief in a certain key issue that we believe in, it is not relevant to a Hindu mind. So the question of conversion or intolerance towards other religions or faith traditions is absolutely not common. They may retaliate in a certain case where other people are aggressively try to dissuade them from their own dharmic path, then they may retaliate in the sense that they will try to fight back. Not physically, but fight back, that they don't want this. And if you call that intolerance, that kind of intolerance is necessary so that you are steadfast in your own views and be confident about your own capacity and the path you are following. So, having said that, let us examine some of the common prayers. Now, here is for global harmony, some of the chants. And it says, Ek Ek Eva Manushi Jati. Humanity have only one jati. They are human beings. There's no other category. Human beings are human beings. And I often say it, that all human beings are made of interchangeable parts. If somebody's kidney fails and they get a compatible kidney from a donor, no matter which part of the globe, from which religion that person is, it doesn't really matter. Kidney is a kidney. If it is compatible, you get it. So we are all made of those interchangeable parts. The dying person is not going to ask whose kidney it is. And kidney itself is not going to ask where I'm going. So that is the kind of attitude that Hindus have. And then they say, Atma Mokshaya Jagat Hitaya Cha. So that means the greatest service to the world is, to the world by an individual, is to live a life that leads to liberation and well-being of the world. So if you are aiming at that kind of action, so it is your benefit as well as the benefit of the mankind. And then they say, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Paschantu, Ma Kaschit Dukh Bhag Bhave. May you all be happy, may you all be disease-free, and may you see everything as noble. I mean, this is a very interesting point. Do not see negativity in others or hatred of others. Notice how good they are. Recognize their positive aspects. Bhadrani is nobility. So you see nobility everywhere. Ma kaschit dukh bhag bhave. And in that case, all your ailments and suffering will go away. And similarly, there are several chants, and teachers have to be familiar with that. Most of you are. And in that case, you can reinforce the same thing over and over. Just like it is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, there is Sarve Sham Swasti Bhavatu. And a whole lot of this is going in one direction, which is welfare of the humanity. That type of action and that type of vibration we create. And let the students feel the experience of chanting 4 times, 5 times, and how their whole mental reverberation in their mind will change. So Hindu beliefs and aspirations actually focus on avoiding suffering. Suffering for personal and in personal life, and the life of the family, and the life of the neighborhood, and all around. So causes of conflict and contradictions in modern mind and society, we try to understand right from childhood. We teach those aspects. What is it that can avoid suffering? What kind of action will avoid suffering for you and your family? And what causes conflict? What causes conflict and anguish and contradiction? So when you say that somebody has to maximize profit while producing things. Now he's maximizing the profit at the cost of the consumer as well as at the cost of the worker. Now this is not Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, right? And this is a contradiction. Everybody will not be happy. Some will be happy. Most of the majority will be not happy. And that is a contradiction in modern way of living and looking. So greed by itself, I remember in the 1980s, there was a saying in Reagan's times, greed is good. Greed is never good. As much as is meant for you, you get, and you should be contented with that. These kind of guidelines we provide to the students, whether they are practicing Hindus or Hindus by convictions, or they are outsider to the tradition, but you are teaching about Dharma, you have to explain to them how relevant it is to point out the contradictions in modern times which cause the conflict, and how to get rid of it. That is the main purpose. Find a meaning to life and meaningfulness to activity. So teach words such as self-control, and the Sanskrit word is sanyam, the steadiness of myself, and what it means for students, for parents. You can create a scenario, an interactive session. What kind of behavior should we encourage? Self-control. What self-control means? What? Be contented in this thing, in this thing, in this thing, in this way, in this way, and build up a larger scenario of life where contentment can be practiced. You can have one television in the house. You can have 10 in 10 different locations in the house. Would that be happiness? Would that be a lasting kind of bliss or contentment? If it is not, then these are all, desire for these are all redundant, extraneous to inner peace. So, you build up what is self-control. Self-control is not desiring or coveting or being tempted by wrong things, wrong ideas. Or like these days we say that propagandists, commercials, they take us away from your chosen path. Because if we have decided to spend time in the house with the family, and suddenly a commercial is asking you to go this place and that place, hunting for a bargain, obviously your routine is disrupted, and this is not, they are taking you away from it. So they're corroding on your routine, they are feeding on your vulnerability and temptations, and they feed on that. So sanya means you are able to not be tempted and be steady. That none of these things, at the end of all the commercials, if you are able to say, none of these things are important for my happiness, that means you have really shown self-control. Students can, create all kind of living situations where you have to, self-control can help. Somebody is pushing drugs on you, somebody is asking you to drink, and you are not used to drinking. So the temptation, how to avoid exercising self-control. Then you teach the word maryada. Maryada is guardrails. You see in guardrails, these guardrails are usually, over the canal. There is a small bridge, and then there are a high fence or a railing. Even on highways, you have railings so that it guides the driver to remain in the lane and not go on the knocking down into the river or somewhere else. So, Maryada is those norms of social behavior which create social harmony. So, and that is what is for good for society. Self-control is good for ourselves, basically giving us peace and steadiness, goal-oriented. And Maryada is what builds a certain kind of social personality and gives you the norms for how to react in different social situations. So students are encouraged to value the positive behavior, what is good, what is not. I mean, there are no really gray and the white and black answer to everything. There is always shades of gray or in between. But values are there. And they are different from the kind of morality which comes from the priest. Here it comes from the self, from Sanyam and the idea of Maryada. From there comes the ethics and proper behavior and etiquettes. We call all of these combined, there's a combined word, Shishtachar. This, they may also make it relevant to modern issues, facing people of all ages and all classes. Now, there is a desire for moksha. Moksha, you usually think that we are living for immortality and getting rid of reincarnation. That is not what moksha literally means. It means liberation. Liberation from anguish, from conflict, from suffering. So self-purification, it leads to evolution of a higher self and connecting you to the divine or to the divine creation. So it is a path to self-realization. If you are constantly angry or victim of negative thoughts, you are not liberated, self-realization cannot begin. And you cannot reach any of your desired goals as well. So, to erase the effects of avidya and maya, illusion, ignorance and illusion, they use that happiness of everybody and liberation of everybody from conflict. Because if other people in the family are unhappy, you cannot be happy. If the neighborhood is unhappy, you cannot be happy. If you are constantly hearing about the world news of torture and brutalities and unnecessary killings, you cannot be happy. So that is why there are certain words in Hindu Dharma which you are, as teachers, you have to focus on. And that word is sarve, sarva, which means all, us all. Sarve means to us all. Sarv means us all. So that is the meaning. So aspiration for global harmony, that is what is fundamental to liberation while you are alive. And those aspirations are in the chants. Some of those we did in the previous slide. Conflict can only be avoided when you change your own mindset and be liberated and desire the same kind of liberation and happiness for others. We cannot make everybody happy, the whole world free of suffering, but we can desire it. We can at least aspire for it. And that is where the word survey comes in. So, Now, what is this God business? Faith in God is an absolute kind of belief in something without asking for proof or evidence. Those people who say that we believe in our God or some historical figure who we think was God, is God, and unflinching belief in that God, that is, and not asking for proof or evidence or even the logic of it, that is God business, I call it. We don't have to indulge in that. Leave this freedom to the students. As they grow up, what they want to believe, which God, or they don't want to give the name to any divine entity, fine. As long as they're decent human beings, they are not destroying the nature, they are not violating any cosmic law, and they are living in harmony, seeking harmony, creating harmony, it's fine. So, faith in humanity means believing absolutely in something with a huge amount of proof to the contrary. So, there's a difference between belief, faith in God, and faith in humanity. The usual word they use in modern in the religions of the West is theology. Now, theo means religion, and Hindu Dharma is not a religion anyway. Now, which religion, and theo means religion which is sustained by absolute truth, no questioning, about certain beliefs which are mixed with myth and fables. It feeds on man's fear of something powerful. What is that powerful thing? God may be wrathful. God may take revenge. God will be merciless and will go to hell. This is feeding on fear. Let the kids get rid of this kind of fear. If they are trying to seek goals, it's not because somebody is telling them to the contrary. It is because they themselves seek it. So, blind faith in something is not logical. Since the religion demands blind faith, where can be the logic of it? You are not allowed to ask for evidence, proof, and there's no logic to it. It's a faith, blind faith. So there's no such word as theology. It is a construct which is an oxymoron. So faith is an unclassified cognitive illness, but it is considered as a moral virtue. Many people, therefore, are turning to be atheists, and they conclude that this is the only way. Most people, when they're fed up with all this illogical, defying common sense kind of things, they say that we are atheist. Now, atheism is not a belief. Questioning the existence of God or not believing, negating the existence of some historical God, it is a conclusion that people find, scientific bent of mind. Those kind of people will reach this conclusion. It's not a belief. So, quest for peace. This is related to moksha. So, you can teach the students the Shanti mantra, and after chanting it a few times, explain to them how it relates to global peace, universalism, humanism, and global harmony. You see? In short, Shanti mantra says that let there be peace, may there be peace in the interspace, in the space, in the stellar regions in our mind, everywhere, in the vegetation, in the medicines, in a whole different way. It's a long chant. Eventually, it says that let that peace descend in my mind. So, this chant actually seeks peace everywhere, everywhere. So, these are the foundations of Hindu way of living and thinking. Now we are approaching from philosophy to putting something into practice in the daily life, way of living and thinking. How have these beliefs helped immigrants from other countries to be a part of general cultural ethos in India? One can see. There are a lot of faith traditions which came to India from other countries uh, like Zoroastrians, right? And they assimilated and they are part of the Indian cultural ethos. So, if we weave in the attitude which cause mental suffering, then you are disturbing the general cultural ethos. And there are some religious groups which came as invaders and colonizers, and then they stayed there, and they are causing a lot of social conflict and mental suffering. Now, how to avoid these conflicts and negative feelings about others? How to practice Sanyam in the face of all these odds? That is where your personal quest for peace goes. How firm you are, how steadfast you are, how grounded you are. What does this Sanyam mean for you? And that is part of Hindu way of thinking and living. So what do Hindus want for humanity? Again, they want the same thing. Everywhere, everybody should be healthy. Everywhere, everybody should be at peace. Everybody should seek perfection and be full. And everybody should be in a happy, auspicious state of mind. What else do they desire? As we said before, they want everybody to be comfortable, happy, everybody to be healthy. Everybody should see nobility in others. And this is the only way to relate to people in a harmonious way. So this chant, which I have given, was created by, I believe, Shri Sitaris Ravi Shankarji. And he created this, the above 4 lines. So all of this is a kind of a unified field. There is no contradiction. Everything fits in that unified field because it is not just me versus others, it is me among all of you as part of you. So build in the discussion about modern times, do these chants over and over. Think of globalization. What is globalization? Globalization is global control. It means multinational corporations going to other countries, creating their own economic vested interests and interfere with political establishment, not being answerable to any country's law because they are multinational. So this is globalization, global control of resources, global leadership, and global political leadership, that kind of thing. What is global humanism? That is seeking happiness for the entire humanity and harmonious living. So what is the difference? You can see, and the whole thing is totally different. The two are not even compatible. Students now, at this point, since we have thrown so much of information in a very holistic kind of way, me in the world, me in the society, me in the educational atmosphere, me, myself, in the vocational setting, how to relate, how to create peace for myself, peace for others. So students may be asked to summarize this lesson, write their own ideas, and they should come out with solutions also. That if half the humanity is living under in hunger and poverty, in starvation, literal starvation, and chaos, inner as well as outer, then the students may be asked to come out with ideas. What can you do for yourself so that you are not affected by this negativity around you? Or what can you do to reduce the negativity out of, in this world, outside your inner realm? And these kind of things will broaden their horizon. This is the thinking kind of thing. It is not mindless following. It is thinking, absorbing, relating, and being at peace and harmony. Thank you very much. Next time, we will study some more issues, and we'll continue with the other aspects of Hindu Dharma. And in the meantime, namaste, and see you next time.